Hey guys, welcome back to Real Housewives Recaps. Today we're talking Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip. This is episode 2. There's a Jill in the air. So let's talk about this. I got a lot of comments saying you want to stick with it, so here we are again on episode 2. I gotta say, I actually like this episode better than the first one. I got more into it and I took more notes, and I'm kind of excited to talk about it. So let me know your thoughts, of course, in the comments as always. Let me know if you're watching it, if you're into it, that sort of thing. Let's dive in. So here's my beef. I just don't find 90% of them likable. I don't. I'd say Vicky is probably, no, not probably. She is my least favorite cast member, maybe of all time. And I find her wholly unlikable in this one. The problem I have is that I also can't be Team Brandi. And what I mean is, I love that Brandi's going up against Vicky and they're having their beef, but I also think Brandi is wrong. So I'm going to say both things are true. I think Brandi's wrong, but I also can't stand Vicky, and I kind of love that Brandi is giving her hell. I promise I'll go through the walkthrough, but I am gonna say that Dorinda had a rare moment of clarity. Yep, I said it. That she called it out and said, "Vicky, you're looking for a reason to jump on Brandi," and that does seem to be what's going on. But in fairness, Brandi is doing herself zero favors, right? She is very hard to root for. Taylor nailed it because she said, oh God, I have the quote somewhere, but it was something along the lines of, Brandi, I know you can articulate yourself better than this. And when you just go to the STFU, you know what I'm saying? Shut the up. It does a discredit to herself. I think the problem is there is a time and place, and I love a good fight. We've seen a history of good fights at Bluestone Manor, right? With Bethany and Luann, some of the best. You sleep with everybody. But they're right. Brandi is just, she goes from 0 to 1,000,000. Now, again, since I'm jumping around and giving my initial thoughts anyway, I'm going to keep going. Taylor called out Brandi for not growing in 10 years, and she's right, because we saw Brandi go into the same behavior where she just goes to the shut the blank up and calling everybody a bitch, like when it's not that warranted yet. I mean, there are times where I root for them to call each other bitches because they're being bitches, but I don't think she used it in the right time or context in some of these instances. But I did find it funny that Taylor also went back to exactly where she was 10 years ago or however long ago when she was doing her pointing, and all I could think of is, remember, I think it was season 2, she said, I'm going to go Oklahoma on your ass, whatever it was. God, how do I remember that stuff? Jeez, it doesn't say much about my mental health. So my MVP, I gotta say, I'm torn. I liked Phaedra okay. I find her, like, back when I haven't watched Atlanta in a very long time, but I used to find her laying it on so thick and almost comical with the won't give specific details. Like, remember when she was expecting her baby and then I don't know how long it took to make a baby and stuff, and basically didn't want to admit that there was probably a bun in the oven before she married Apollo, whatever. I don't know. I find her a little schmoozy sometimes with the thick Southern accent. Believe me, I am a Southern girl born and bred, so I am used to that. But it still sometimes can be a little much. But that said, I'm enjoying her this season. My startling revelation in season 1 was that I found Kyle enjoyable. I don't want to say it's startling because I never disliked Phaedra. I just didn't like how all that stuff went down at the end, and I understand why she had to go. But I'm enjoying her immensely so far this season. Same with Eva. I didn't see Eva's season, but I heard, I kind of keep up with the news and stuff. I'm laughing, news. But I'm finding her very likable and very relatable, and I love this scene with her and Taylor, which we'll get into. And, yeah, I don't know. Who else? I don't dislike Tamra as much as I don't like Vicky. Is that making sense? But I still, those two irk me. I just need for them to move on and take Shannon with them, right? Because I just can't with all three of them. Okay, let's dive into actually what happened this episode. So it was day one, transitioning into day two. P.S. Everybody, especially Vicky, kept saying, no, not everybody, Vicky kept saying, what is there to do here? Where can we whoop it up? Vicky's so annoying. This place seems like heaven to me. And I know that sounds maybe crazy because some of the decor might give me a headache, but I love the grounds so much. I keep thinking, oh my God, I want to spend 8 days there just swimming in the pool and drinking whatever they're drinking and hanging out. And I'm not really interested in the sound bath, but everything else sounds fun, I don't know. It just seems like a good time. I actually want to be at Bluestone Manor around Christmas because if you haven't watched Real Housewives of New York, I got to say, Dorinda goes crazy at Christmas. She decorates every inch of everything for Christmas. It's kind of funny. So I'd like to be there for that. Okay, going back to what's going on in this episode. So, big surprise, Jill is coming. Dun, dun, dun. P.S. What is Brandi wearing here? I don't understand this outfit, this look. It's like, hey, I'm going to cover my neck and show off my tits. Cool, show off your tits. But it's just a weird, almost exercise look that can't decide if it wants to be a shirt or like, what is it, athleisure type situation. Okay, so the girls are getting a pedicure. I believe it's all under the Oh, P.S. I love Phaedra's outfit here. This scene cracked me up because when Phaedra walked out in this, and I just think she looks beautiful. I love that hair, that long hair on her. I think it looks so pretty. Not a fan of the short cropped hair she's been sporting in some of the scenes, but I love this long hair with the color, the highlights in it. But I love this outfit, but when she walked down, Eva said, oh, she brought the nipples. I could not stop laughing. It was so, so funny. Okay. Good Lord, where was I at? Okay, so Jill went to great lengths to reenact the surprise from Scary Island, right? It was kind of depressing, though. And the reason I say that is because I miss Bobby. She did this the first go around with Bobby on Scary Island. I know you know this, but in case you don't. She, quote-unquote, surprised the girls, just wanted to make a grand entrance, and I feel like that's what we're doing here. So she makes her grand entrance, and it kind of falls flat again. It is funny. I just wonder if the producers didn't tell the girls, hey, don't react too much when something happens, because it was a very flat, I don't know, entrance. And even Dorinda, who knew she was coming, just was kind of like, oh, hey. Now, Dorinda kind of gets her feathers ruffled by Jill. She doesn't say this. They seem to be friends, but I'm just saying because, Jill kind of comes in and takes over things. And that's Dorinda's job. So she's the hostess, right? She prides herself on being the hostess. And when Jill comes in and takes over things, I think it just irks Dorinda. They're making these jokes over and over. Jill's there in TV, so that way they don't get sued by QVC. They keep calling her QVC. Because she has a million things to say about a million things, if that makes sense. So I feel like there's some sort of underlying tension between Dorinda and Jill. They have a nice lunch. It's like a pizza lunch. Then they set up for the sound bath. It is funny because at one point or another, pretty much all the women are like, what is this? What are we doing here? Dorinda is enjoying it, but she seems to be the only one. And that is also a Dorinda thing, right? Where she kind of gets a little self-absorbed maybe, or she just thinks about, I know she's trying to do a nice thing for everybody, but it's more about Dorinda than it is anybody else. But even more self-absorbed, I'd say, was Vicky, because you can't just sit there and pretend for a friend who's gone to all this effort to put this together. No, she needs to get up, make a big scene, and walk away. So she walks away under the guise of making business calls. Well, Tamra comes in to talk to her, also breaking the no food upstairs rule, which was really funny. She's carrying this ice cream around, which she ends up spilling on the pillows later. And P.S., there's signs that say Hannah in this room, so I gotta figure this is Dorinda's daughter's actual room, and Tamra spilled ice cream on her pillow. Okay, so I don't know. I don't want to just keep saying Vicky bothers me, but Vicky bothers me. I talked right over the scene because it's hard to talk about here. I don't go political and whatever, but I'm going to give you an overview and say there was a huge discussion about Vicky, and she calls herself anti-vax. And okay, I'm just going to be frank with you. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to get into it. I don't think anybody cares what my stance is, and I don't care what anybody else's stance is. You do what's right for you. I have my own view on it. But Vicky sucks, and she finds a way to make it about her, and Dorinda ends up crying and saying she lost somebody. It's weird. She starts out saying she lost somebody, and then it turns into multiple people. I don't know, but people have been lost because of this, and of course Vicky is still making it about her. I digress. So here, Vicky's making it about her, and I almost understood this one because I'm sure the quiet makes the, what's the word I'm looking for? Yikes pop into her head, the ickies, the scaries, because the guy just dumped her the day before she left. So yeah, I'll give her a little bit of a pass on that one. I'm kind of the same way. I don't like, when there's turmoil or anxiety in my head, I can't just sit in quiet. And so I don't think I'd do good at that sound bath either. It kind of brings up my anxiety a little bit. All right. Jumping forward, I did talk over, Eva and Taylor had a very nice conversation, and it made me appreciate Eva even more. It made me hate Taylor's lip color even more. Even here, she's wearing that dark, damn lip color. Somebody, if you know Taylor, please tell her to stop wearing dark lip color. It doesn't look good. There's like 1% of people I think it looks good on. She's not it. And when you have big lips, don't line them dark. I believe it was Patty Stanger. I wish it was me that came up with this, but somebody else did and called her, or not her, called that look when you line dark, excuse my French, butthole lips. I think it was Patty Stanger. I can't remember. I wish I could. Anyway, and that's all I could think of with Taylor was butthole lips. She already has the pronounced lips, whatever, but she lines them dark and then wears these dark lipsticks, and I hate it. I hate it so much. Okay. They go to this haunted dinner, and here's another point where I was frustrated. It sounds like I hate this show. I actually don't. I enjoyed this episode a lot more. But it was frustrating to watch because I do feel like... Oh, I hate this look, by the way, so much on Tamra. Take a look at that. Trisha Paytas. Okay. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Trisha Paytas is a YouTuber. They look just alike there. Okay, so here's what I hate about this dinner. While Brandi is a mess, and she is a mess. I feel like she is a big old mess. Like, what's the word I'm looking for? I was going to say like a duck where they're like panicking under the surface. I don't even think she hides it. I think she's straight up panicking. I don't know. Always something going on with Brandi. But that said, she couldn't say anything without especially Vicky jumping on her. And I like this scene here where Phaedra and Eva talk to her and say, it's kind of not cool. Stop saying bitch to everybody because obviously don't like it. But that said, they should stop jumping on you. And this is where Dorinda has her moment of clarity where she says the same thing. Like to Vicky, you're looking for a reason to jump on Brandi. And that's exactly what I think too. Not standing up for Brandi. Brandi messed up a lot. But she's right. Vicky has made up her mind. She doesn't like Brandi. And that's it. So anything Brandi says, they're going to jump on. And it's a vicious cycle because anytime they jump on her, she goes to shut the blank up and calling people bitches and stuff. I mean, this picture kind of sums it up, right? Taylor and Brandi are fighting, and I kind of understood why Brandi reacted like this. It's because, why Taylor reacted like this. It's because Brandi was being too hard with her. I would have a problem too if she's bringing up my ex and the things that Taylor dealt with. I think that's off limits. You shouldn't talk about that, Brandi. But Taylor flies off the handle here, and it's funny because, again, that 10 years thing, she hasn't changed in 10 years either because this is the famous meme that Brandi brings up. But look at Vicky. She's like, I knew it. I already didn't like you. Here's my reason. I'm justified in not liking you. Dorinda calls her on it. It's actually a great scene. Here's Phaedra. I hate this wig. I'm like, I just think she has a beautiful face, and I don't think that wig does anything for her. I prefer that longer wig. I thought she looked better than that, but that's beside the point. So the episode basically ends here. We're left off here. It's a to be continued. Dinner from hell, right? It's a haunted dinner, and now we see why. It's because everybody keeps saying, shut the blank up. Sorry, I'm just looking back at my notes because I took all these notes and then I ended up just talking off the cuff the whole time. Trying to think if there was anything else. Oh, they went over this whole thing where Brandi was accusing the chef of being a lesbian. I think Brandi just says these things and she doesn't think about it. And I'm not giving her a pass. That's ridiculous. Like, you're however old, you should know better, you know? But I didn't think it was as serious as they were making it out to be. She thought the chef was a lesbian, and turns out she's not. And, you know, the male server, whatever he was at the dinner, said, "Oh no, that's my wife." But it wasn't that big a deal. But as the table talked about it more, it became a bigger deal. And that's what Taylor was trying to talk to Brandi about. Like, you can't go up to this man and say, "Your wife's a lesbian." And Brandi was trying to say that's not what happened. I just thought she was a lesbian, you guys. She said she thought she was a lesbian based on her eyebrows. How ridiculous is that? But she said, "I thought she was a lesbian based on her eyebrows," but I didn't walk up to him and say that. But instead of Brandi calmly explaining that, she goes to STFU, shut the blank up, and doesn't articulate herself, right? And so that's where, and then it gives Vicky something to jump on. I wish, and I'm not Team Brandi because she bugged me, especially Denise of it all, but I wish Brandi would keep it together and not fly off the handle, because that would make Vicky look so much worse. Vicky would have no excuse to go after her. So that's what I wish. I wish Brandi would settle the hell down and let Vicky make a fool of herself as she would, you know? But anyway, so that's it for the episode. A good episode. I actually am more invigorated by this one. I enjoyed it more, and I'm excited to keep going. There's another one that Peacock released, so I will plan to get that out probably tomorrow. We'll see. I still got Bridesmaids coming, recaps of that. We'll make time for everything. We'll figure it all out, right? I know some of you still want more Amber Heard memes. Those are kind of tapering off, but I'm trying to do the best to make as many people happy as I can, so I'll try to do some of those as well. We'll figure it out together, right? Thanks so much for being here. I sincerely appreciate every single comment, every single one of you. Thanks for watching. I hope you had the best day, and I cannot wait to talk to you again soon. If you're interested in Patreon, I am on there doing a recap of Sex and the City, and check that out. I'm just patreon.com/Real Housewives Recaps. I will talk to you again soon. Take care. Don't be a Vicky. Don't be Brandi either. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.